Yes, welcome to We Do It for the Culture Radio,
Hello.
where our stories matter. I'm your boy Lover.
This is Mahogany Rose, and this is We
We Do
Do
It
It
for
for
the
the
Culture Radio.
Absolutely. Let's
That's
go.
right, we're ready to get it popping today. My boy Miz is he's out there working right now on doing making that little cheddar, but he's gonna maybe try to join us a little bit later. But right now he can't be here right now. But it's got me and Mahogany Rose, so we're gonna lay it down and make it do what it do because it's what we do.
So we do.
Yeah. So today we got another great discussion today. At least I think it's great. We have no features today, no guest hosts, but we want to talk to you guys about something that it's a little touchy.
It's kind of sensitive topic.
Yeah, it
It's a
is.
sensitive topic.
Now here at We Do It for the Culture, but we try to talk about topics and subjects that can directly or indirectly affect the black community.
Us.
Now, this particular topic doesn't directly or indirectly affect the black community, but it affects us all. It affects us all when we allow children to make uh, lifelong decisions prematurely.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Anytime we allow children to make decisions or choices that could affect them in the long run and down the line, it's a problem. And we're going to discuss today parents or people allowing their children to make transgender choices at an age that is not appropriate. And if you had to say so, Mahogany Rose, what would be that age? What do you think it'll be?
Honestly,
A
I
good
believe
age.
the age will probably be 18.
18. That's what I was
18,
thinking.
yeah.
18. Yeah, I don't believe allowing a child to make a decision that can affect them in the long run. Not only that, a decision that they may regret
Exactly.
in the long run.
And irreversible.
Yes,
An
exactly.
irreversible change in
But-
their life.
Because if you make a decision like that at 10 years
10,
old, whatever,
Right.
and now you get around 21, 25, and you realize, hey, listen, I think I like girls. Or I think I like boys, whatever. You realize you done messed up.
Right. Then what do you do?
Yeah, because you know what I mean? You can't change it. So this is what we're talking about today. We're talking about parents, people allowing children to make choices regarding their gender uh, at young ages. Now, I don't think you should allow children to make not only uh, transgender choices, but most times most kids don't even know what they want to do career wise at a
That's
young
right.
age. They don't even know what they want to
That's
do
right.
as far as an occupation, let alone a decision such as a gender. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you work with kids.
I do.
Uh, with you working with kids, what's your take on this? Do you? Are you guys doing sex ed in the classrooms at this point?
At my school, unfortunately, we're not.
Okay.
We're not. I'm not sure what they do in the public sector, but we don't.
Okay.
And we should.
Now, has that always been the case?
Honestly, with the curriculum, I believe so. With the particular curriculum that we teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, with you dealing with kids directly, and your school is the what from age what is it? What grade?
It
One
is.
through high school?
It's pre-K all the way
Pre-K.
to 12th grade.
Okay. So you see them all sizes,
I
all.
have.
So
And I've taught pre-K through 6th grade.
So, with your experience with dealing with kids, do you think kids are experienced enough? Even because you get them up to what 17, right? 16, 17
At
at
my
your
school,
school?
yeah.
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 So,
Mhm.
with your experience with them, do you think at 16 to 17, even at 16, 17, that they're able to make
I don't think they
those
should
kind
make
of
that. I don't
choices?
think they're able to make that choice because at the age of 5, at the age of 10, you should not have experienced anything sexual first off
I agree.
at
I agree.
at that age. You probably haven't really experienced love at that age. But I just think there's different factors that kind of contribute to people making that decision or children making that decision.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of influence and there's a lot of things that in this world that are trending that that children are exposed to and become interested in.
But that's not ordinary children. Are we talking about children with wealth that come from wealthy families? People, the children that come from people who are in the industry, acting and musicians like the Shares of the world, the D Ways of the world, the Magic Johnsons. Is it mostly those people where we're seeing this trend? Because not on a normal. I don't think it's happening normally, right? With normal kids, right? For the most part. Give me on. Keep it going. Keep it going. Because I don't see. I see most of
um,
these celebrities. What's her name? Angelique
it's
Jolie.
not just celebrities.
That's not
It's
just
not just
okay.
celebrities.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really think it has a lot to do with exposure to social media, and the way that the parents think, their way of thinking.
So you just said something that I think is the big word here, exposure, right?
Yeah.
Because when I look at these celebrities with their children, I'm gonna start with D Wade. Whenever I see D Wade in the public eye, it's always with the gay child.
Right.
Whenever I don't never see the other son. There's never son. The other son is never in the picture. The gay son gets all the attention. He's
That is
always in the
true.
picture. He's always. It's almost like they're, you know, purposely dangling them out there to the forefront. When I see Magic Johnson's kid, I don't never see Andre. I don't never see the normal kid.
Right.
It's always EJ, the one that's gay. Whenever I see Angelina, it's never the normal kids that they're exposing, that they're out there with their, with their publicists taking the pictures. They're always dangling the child that they want to get the exposure to, which is the gay child. It's never the child that's heterosexual.
Right.
So
Which it
that's what
really
caught my
isn't
attention.
fair. It's really not fair.
Why do you suppose they are purposely showing the gay children and not the normal child? I don't never see them. I don't never see them in public taking pictures on the red carpet with their normal children. It's always putting the gay children on the front
I
street.
would think with them making a decision, and that's a huge decision, a life changing decision for that child, and or allow him to do that. They already know that kids are going to feel a certain type of way. The public is going to feel a certain type of way. So they want to find a way to build up this child's confidence as he goes through this change.
Hmm.
That's what I think.
That makes a little bit of sense. I just think that is, I think there's an agenda
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I never see them giving the normal kid, because all these, they all have normal kids. They all. I'm not saying that the transgender ones are not normal kids,
Right.
but every time I see them, it's like they have multiple kids, but they never are on Front Street with the ones that are not trying to be LGBT or gay or transgender. They're never with those kids.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So that concerns me that you're trying to make them uh, uh, a public a freak for some reason. You know what I mean? That's what I'm like. I mean, I can't think of it. I'm trying to be politically correct here, but I can't think of why they're always trying to put these kids in the public space. Like, hey, here, look at my gay kid. Hey, look at him. I have a gay kid.
I feel
You
like
know
they're
what I'm
trying to
saying?
make it more of a positive than a negative. Because, like I said, this child is going to take ridicule from other kids if it doesn't go. I think it's a way of them making it a positive rather than a negative. Because kids do tease,
Well, I'm gonna tell you
Things
like
that are
this.
different they talk about.
Okay, so we were talking about age. I lost my virginity at 12 years old.
Fast down.
Oh, okay. But even before that, while I'm in school, I'm sitting at the table, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm getting a boner. You know what I mean? You see your man up there standing at attention. So you already at those ages, you already knowing what's going on. You already knowing you're familiar with the other sex girls now. You're trying to do things to get girls' attention, whether you hitting them and running, whatever the case may be. So, I guess you can say that at certain ages you do know what you like and what you don't like. Because I know at 11, 10, 11, 12, I knew I liked girls.
Right.
I knew something was going on down in my midsection. You know what I mean? I didn't know exactly what, but you know, kids at that age are probably in the shower, you know, touching themselves.
Possibility.
Uh, at that time, they're already leaving notes for girls, probably getting phone numbers and stuff like that. So whatever. So when you say they're probably not ready at 12 or 13 to make a decision like that, I mean, does that really? Because I knew what I want. I was enjoying being a boy at that age.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe they are ready to make a decision at that age.
I have an excerpt that I would like for us to listen to.
Okay.
And also, anyone who is listening, if you have an opinion, because this is a topic that, like, of course, we said is very sensitive and it's definitely happening. And right now, they're trying to push laws to either go forward with gender affirming care or not in certain states. But I
Okay.
just put it up to
Just
this.
put it
Okay.
to you.
So I would like for you all to listen to this excerpt as this neuroscientist discussed with Dr. Phil.
Incorrectly diagnosed with gender dysphoria, and should those who are wait to get transitions?
Absolutely. There should be a longer period of time, and most importantly, there needs to be a proper assessment done. I really take issue with this narrative that children, quote unquote, know their true selves or they know their gender identity if they believe that they're transgender, or that detransition is purely due to social stigma or due to transphobia. If you actually talk to detransitioners, as I have, you'll hear the reasons as to why they have chosen to detransition, why they have regret about their decisions, in many cases having undergone medicalization. There's so many other issues that these young people are struggling with, whether it is being on the autism spectrum. They have, many of them, if not all I've spoken to, have a history of sexual trauma. They are not comfortable with their sexuality if they are gay. They may have anxiety, depression, and in some cases, as in Ryan's case, if it's a young woman who reaches puberty, is not comfortable in her body, she thinks that because she doesn't like being sexualized by society, that means that she's actually a man, or she's so-called non-binary, even though there are only two genders. Even for young women who don't like having a period, they believe that that means that they're actually a man. And I question: do children actually have the capacity to make lifelong permanent decisions about their bodies, and do they really understand what these interventions involve? I don't think they do, and I think we're doing a real disservice to young people, especially with this ideology we see coming into education. We see it being glorified in society, with the fact that legitimate experts cannot speak about the science, that legitimate studies cannot be done. Actual science that is correct is being suppressed, is being denied, is being called hateful. And so people are understandably terrified to talk about this. And if you are in the field, whether you're an academic, my reason for leaving academia is because I wasn't willing to stay quiet about this issue. If you do work within, say, academia, if you're a scientist, you cannot produce any research that goes against activist narratives, or they will completely destroy you.
And what do you say to the parents of a child like Reese, who says, look, at 5 years old, he knew at the core of his soul who he was, and that it was not who he had been assigned at birth? What do you say to someone like that is truly suffering and goes through the steps in a cautionary fashion.
I think that intervention should be on a one-on-one case. So about the individual patient, it shouldn't be about activism. It shouldn't be about sweeping policy in either direction. But I feel right now parents, especially, they're being emotionally blackmailed with this narrative that unless their child transitions, that child is at a high rate of suicide, which is not true. The other thing is this social transition is being sold as it's being sold by activists as being completely harmless. So this consists of a child changing their haircut, changing what maybe their name and their pronouns, and dressing like the opposite sex. And this is seen as just a way for them to explore. But the thing is, from a research perspective, social transition, even though it doesn't involve medical transition, is associated with going on to medical intervention, and from there going on, including cross-sex hormones and surgery. So in a way, it sets a child down this path because it makes it more difficult for the child to say, oh, I made a mistake. It's also very shameful for a child to have to say, I've been making everyone in my life call me this new name and use these new pronouns, and I was actually wrong about that. Children also receive so much attention and praise nowadays for identifying as anything other than their birth sex. And we see this with young people. 20% of Generation Z identifies as LGBT+. So young people are incentivized. I don't believe this is purely due to social acceptance. That there's no way that 1 in 5 young people identifies as something other than their birth sex. That's ridiculous to me. So the fact that this is being not only it's being pushed in education. I mean, that's the issue I have, is that it's not an objective approach. It's very much about there's only one right outcome, and if you don't follow that outcome, then you're in trouble.
I got what you're saying. You think it's a gateway, puts them on the path.
Absolutely.
Do you have a story or a question for me, Cliff?
Man,
So many layers to this whole ordeal.
now she says something that stuck out to me. Incentivized. That's what it's looking like to me. It's almost like there's an incentive for them to push this agenda out there on people, on kids, on society, because a lot of, like I said, you're not even able to buy a beer or buy alcohol until 18. You're not able to join the military, but you're gonna let them make a decision like
21
this.
for alcohol. Well, here in North Carolina.
Yeah, but you're gonna allow them to make a decision like that. That's, like you said, is irreversible.
Irreversible. And did you hear some of the reasons why kids have chosen to change their gender? Puberty, having a period, not liking how their body is feeling when they're going through puberty. There are going to be hormonal changes.
What's that binary thing that they were just talking about? What is non-binary? What is that exactly? I heard that mentioned before. Non-binary.
That's when people may identify as an intermediate or separate third gender, identify with more than one gender or no gender, or have a fluctuating gender identity.
And she said something about there was almost like 20 to 30% of kids that were choosing to choose that.
Yeah.
That's
because the literature that I was reading, it says that some people identify themselves as a man, woman, or other. They don't want to be labeled as a man or a woman.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you believe, because I've heard it said before that some people believe that they were born gay. Do you believe in that philosophy at all?
Like she mentioned, I mean, because I'm not a scientist.
Right.
And I know that I wasn't born that way. Honestly, I can't answer that question because I don't know. Well, I do not know.
You know, like she said that a lot of scientists are not supposed to speak about this. They're not supposed to talk about it. Mm-hmm. They could particularly be what they call blackballed if it was another industry. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So when you look at TV now and you see all these TV executives and places, whatever, where they're pushing that to the forefront. They're pushing every TV show you watch now. Right. They have to have some type of gay relationship going on, or a gay encounter. Mm-hmm. And if they're not pushing that, if not doing that, it's like now
They
they
frowned
look.
upon.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
frowned
They're
upon.
frowned upon,
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? They even got poor 50 Cent now having to put it in his shows, whatever. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's like you can't turn on the TV, even in commercials
It's
now.
sad to say, but it's like you have to do what's trending because some of the stuff I really feel is just trending. You have to do what is trending, or you're not going to be a part, or you're going to be eliminated somehow. So,
At what point though, as a parent, do you like or say, okay, you know what, you know, you're the child, I'm the parent, I'm the decision maker up until you get to a certain age
mhm.
where you can make a decision for yourself. Up until that point, I'll be making the decisions for you. Why are these? I can't understand why these parents are now being put in situations where they have to basically. I remember when the whole child abuse thing came out. You know what I mean? And if you're a parent, if you hit your kid, if your parent told whatever they were gonna come pick up,
Right.
they made us feel like, oh, if we tell, we're gonna hold the parent accountable. But what happened was, as a kid, you go to child abuse, you say, well, my mom is hitting me, and they come and they take your ass out the house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nothing happens to the parent. They take you out. You think, well, what happened to her? I thought she was gonna be the one getting punished.
Right.
They're doing this now with these kids now. Like now, if you're a parent and you don't co-sign what this kid wants to do at a certain age, now you looking at okay, you're the bad person or you're the bad parent.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a lot going on here with this transgender thing. A lot of, like I said, there was been some big one between Bootsy going at Lil Wayne, and then Bootsy come to find out that one of his children uh, was supposed to be gay or something like that. But like I said, at a young age, I knew that I was a boy. I knew I was starting to see things that was going on. I knew what the opposite sex was. I knew that I liked to be with the opposite sex. So it's like now being heterosexual is like, it's now you know, you're the bad person. You're the bad seed now because you're heterosexual.
Right.
I don't know. You got some more. You got some more facts that you wanted to lay out there that you had pulled up. Because I got something that I want to say real quick while you do that.
Okay, go ahead.
When I look at women, now look at all the things that women go through and women have to deal with. Cycles, women have to worry about, looking a certain way. They have to worry about wearing shoes that may be uncomfortable. They wear a lot of responsibility when it comes to households. Being a mom, the responsibilities that come along with it. I think it's damn near rude and disrespectful to call anybody that is not a woman when you consider all the things that a woman has to go through. You'll never hear me call a man, any man, whether he's a transgender, gay, whatever, you'll never hear me calling him a woman no matter what he wants to be called. Not when I know all the things that a woman has to go through in this world. That's a smack in the face to a woman, considering all the things that they have to deal with in life. To call this guy who wants to take the expressway to being a woman. He wants to take the easy way to being a woman. No, dude. Do you even know half the things a woman have to deal with? You think you're gonna wear a pocketbook and wear shoes or maybe take some type of sexual enhancement, whatever, and that you're gonna be called a woman? No. You don't deserve the right to be called a woman. You don't know half the things a woman have to go through, but you think you're gonna overnight you should be able to be called a woman because you want to wear a pocketbook or you want to dress like a woman because you want to talk like a woman. No, hell no. You'll never be a woman in my eyes. That's disrespectful to a woman. that you get to take the easy way out to become a woman. You ain't got to deal with no cycles. You ain't got to deal with all these things that a woman have to deal with on a daily basis. Nah, you ain't taking the easy way out with me. As far as I'm concerned, you're gonna be a man all your life to me, no matter what you want to be called. What do you have there behind me, Rose?
Just some information from actually July of last year, where Biden signed order to protect transgender children. There's many states that have been fighting against and trying to restrict minors from doing the gender affirming care.
Which is right, and those are probably all red states, right? What are those states? I think it was like Arkansas, Texas.
Texas was another.
Was it Louisiana?
Shoot.
Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana. But those are all, for the most part, those are red states.
Arizona, Arkansas,
red state.
Texas.
Yeah, so I don't always, I think, I don't always agree with, some people who are Democratic, they're Democratic to the core. And they can't agree at all with anything a Republican says. Same thing with some Republicans. They're Republican to the core, and they refuse to agree with anything that a Democrat says. But me, there are some things that these red states do that I totally agree with. I co-sign some of the things that they do. You know what I mean? Because I think what they're doing to these children, man, it's heartbreaking. Allow them to make decisions just early in their lives. That's going to affect them in the long run when they decide, hey, listen, I think I made a mistake. I think I like this boy stuff. Hey, I get to go to the bathroom and stand up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Back in February, North Carolina was one of the states that joined considering bans on gender-affirming medical procedures for transgender minors. That was back in February. And the violation can be up to $1,000 for any medical doctors or licensed people that are contributing to helping minors with the transgender gender.
How old do you have to be in order to be able to get an abortion? 18? Is that the age?
I think it's 18. Honestly, I don't know. I have to look that one up.
So I'm thinking, if you gotta be 18 to be able to get an abortion, you should be 18 before you be allowed to be able to change your gender. You know what I'm saying? I saw where Dwayne Wade and Gap Union went through a court judgment where they didn't even have to get consent from the mother.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, they had
to be able to approve of that. Like, yo, you even give the mother a say in this. That's crazy, man. I don't get it. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. But we're gonna take a small break. When we come back, we're gonna jump back into. We're talking about children being at an age to be able to make transgender.
Just hold on. Just to answer your question, is 18
to be an abortion.
Yeah, parental consent.
See, that's the key word, parental consent.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're talking about children being able to make lifelong decisions when it comes to being transgender. And we're going to take a small break. We'll get right back. But we do it for the culture video.
Dang it, man. We get these terms together. Gender affirming care. My stuff is not in order. Well, I forgot what the fourth: Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas. Yeah, it was the three A's: Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, and Arizona.
Alabama, yeah, all red states. What else you got up there we could possibly touch on?
It's all the same stuff. I talked about that one. North Carolina as of February. Raleigh. Oh, the Cooper's fighting. North Carolina Republicans threw their Martin and November election, but fell one seat short of a veto-proof supermajority in the joint floors. Roy Cooper said after the election that he would continue advocating for trans residents.
Hold that thought. Maybe
Okay.
we're going to talk about that one.
He said even after the election, he's going to advocate. I guess even whether he's the governor or not, he's planning on doing it. He's a Democrat. Brian may have just arrived home. Nope. Oops. One other thing that lady mentioned in that video that we just listened to, she mentioned that some of them are autistic.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
That is really
like,
weird.
How can you let an autistic kid make a decision? How would he even know?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Mic just hot. Welcome back to We
Welcome
Do It
back,
for the
everybody.
Culture Radio.
Hello.
Our stories matter. We've been talking about the discrepancy between allowing children to make lifelong decisions, regrettable decisions, with being transgender, making a decision about being a particular gender, whether they want to switch from a boy to a girl or vice versa. Now, I don't see many women, not nearly as many women or little girls trying to be boys as I do girls. Boys trying to be girls.
It seems that way, or maybe that's just not something that we know of. We'll check on the statistics on that. One thing I wanted to mention about the excerpt that we listened to earlier is that the neuroscientists mentioned that some of these kids actually have mental disorders such as autism. So again, how do they go about making a decision or allowing them to make a decision when they have disorders or born with mental illnesses such as that?
I think there has to be, of course, a real strong counseling that goes on for at least a year. You know what I'm saying? Between both parents and the child.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I see
both
what you're
parents and the
saying. I
child.
see what you're saying.
A counselor session, an intervention kind of sort of.
Right.
You know, and in that intervention, you bring in people who have made the decision, so they can give you their experiences and how they feel about it. And now at that point, you may be in a situation where you can make a more. I don't think as a kid you still, but I think at least you have a little synopsis of what they're going through, what their mistakes were, what they regret, stuff like that, and still make it at 18 before they can do anything.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is a great idea.
Because the way they're doing it, it's like we're in a different world, and this world is part of my French is really screwed up.
And it has to be more than one person who is successful with the whole transition, because there could be a person that is now living a life transitioned, and they live a great life, but it could be someone that has regrets. So it probably need to be a number of people that went through the entire process.
Yes. Because it is a long process.
Yeah, it is a process.
You got to take what you gotta call them thing, hormones and all kind of stuff, and the hormones can affect the body in a lot of different ways, badly. You know what I'm saying? You just can't just mess around with that stuff. I mean, I've heard horror stories about people taking hormones and how it affected them, not just physically but mentally.
Right, exactly. So that's part of the counseling too.
Yeah.
That's part of they have to get counseling throughout the entire process.
Okay, so check out. This is a transgender men
versus
transgender woman, aged from 16 to 17 or 17 to 20 years old. 5% transgender women, meaning boys that decided to be a woman, transgender over to a woman. Women transgender men from 20 to 29, 35% to a woman, 25%. So this is the demographic, sexual orientation details, and mental health of patient subjects. And then you get from 30 to 39, where it's 24% transgender men to 90% transgender women.
Wow.
Now, I'm not sure if this is, like I said, I'm not sure if this is transgender men who were women first or men who decided to be women.
Oh, yeah, that's not clear.
Yeah.
Because I was going to take a look at age 40 through 49, where it's saying transgender men is 27%, and then for women it's 14%.
Yeah.
Well, each time the numbers are higher for men.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking.
All an exception of 50 through 59. It's a little higher.
I'm thinking these are transgender men, meaning these are men who decided to gender over to a woman. Demographics of the patient in our study are shown. Table 1, a total of 155 transgender women and 55 transgender men. Yeah, I'm thinking that's men who decided to be women. That's why those statistics are higher. Because like I said, there's way more men trying to make that switch.
Now break it down by
and that's because a lot of these men are being raised by women.
That is true too.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, let's take a look at the demographics.
Okay, so the demographics here.
So whites, 47%
of transgender men and 54% of transgender women.
Okay, those numbers are pretty high. Higher than all the other demographics.
Almost all together. Yeah. Hispanics 18, Transgender men, 19% transgender women. Black and African American, 13% transgender men. The 8% transgender woman. Asian Pacific, 7% to 12%. Yeah, that's.
Wow.
I wouldn't even guess. I would have been sure that it was more blacks
Mm.
in that number. That's ridiculous. I don't know what the solution is though. What would be the solution
I don't either.
you know what I mean? Because something's got to give, man. Parents. They got to stop. It should be a crime to let a parent let a child make a decision like
I
that.
was getting ready to say.
There's no
Children are
accountability.
running the household.
Yeah,
Yeah, children are running the household.
this is crazy, man. So you guys let us know what you think about this. You know what I mean? How would you feel if your 10-year-old child wanted to make the switch from a boy to a girl, or vice versa, 10 years old? Would you allow them to do that? Or would that be a decision that you as a parent or parents would make solely? That's what we want to know. Because I know as a parent, I'm definitely not having that. I don't believe you're ready to make that decision. And I believe there's a whole lot more of life you need to see before you could determine that.
If there were a case where I had a child that felt like they wanted to make that transition, we would have to talk about it when they turn 18. Because that's the age where they're getting ready to transition up out my house.
Are you saying that you wouldn't even have the discussion with them until 18?
No, you know what? I will have the discussion with them because at the end of the day, it's their life. But I would not let them take the steps until they turn 18.
Man.
Because by then they will have some kind of life experiences and they pretty much gone through puberty. And 18 is just a mature age for girls. Boys is a whole lot. You need a few more years.
It says now about 5% of young adults in the U.S. say their gender is different from their sex assigned birth. 5%.
That's pretty low. Pretty low.
Man, listen.
But just thinking about kids in school today and how a lot of them are what they call trisexuals, where they're just trying different things out,
I saw that when I was going through school.
Right.
I saw some girls experiment with lesbianism.
Yeah.
I now see a good portion of those girls who are married to men.
Exactly. I have to.
Yeah. They tried it. They experiment with it, whatever.
Right.
I guess it was normal, whatever. But after they got through that phase, and I want to emphasize that, I think it's a phase.
Yeah.
That children go through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I saw some young girls, even in middle school, you know what I mean, go through that phase. And I know when my son was shot, I didn't do the when you can have kids spend the night type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do it because I was trying to punish them, but it's just the way I was seeing the way things were going on in the world, how things were changing.
Right.
And I said, I don't want no parts of that. So all that spending the night and sleepovers, nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. You know what I mean? Only because I know that kids at a certain age are curious.
Right.
And they may try something.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't mean because they're going through a phase. And because I don't know what kids are going through, whatever, or if my son is going through it, I don't want to put him in a situation where, you know what I mean, he feels like he's under some type of pressure.
Another thing.
So I didn't allow sleepovers.
You don't know what kids have been exposed to.
That's a fact.
You don't know what kid has been raped or molested. And that's another thing that the lady was mentioning. Some of these kids have been through all walks of life and they have been molested and they have been raped and they have been in situations where, they feel guilty or shamed by things that they have experienced in life, and decide that they would rather be a boy or they would rather be a girl because they never want to go through this again. So again, that's why the age you can make a. I think at the age of 18 you can make a more rational decision.
It says adults under 30 are more likely than older adults to be trans or non-binary. So that's adults under 30 are more likely than adults to be trans or non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at trans people when I was growing up. It's kind of almost like freaks, almost like we just we like we didn't want to be next to them. We always we just had these bad,
Right.
you know what I mean? I got a friend of mine, right? One day we riding around the city, and he sticks his head out the car, and he starts hollering at this chick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's up, baby? Yeah, yo, baby, yo, baby, yo. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Now, unbeknownst to him, that this chick was a trans. She
Mhm.
was a man, but she was looking like a woman. He couldn't tell.
Right.
Somebody said, "Yo, you know that's a girl, right? You know that's a dude, right?"
Right.
So my homeboy, now he's in the passenger seat. My other homeboy drives off. He tells my homeboy, like, no, hell no. Bring this car back around the block. Goes back around the block, and he throws a 40-ounce bottle at the joint.
See, yeah.
All because of probably embarrassed.
Yeah.
People saw him talking to, you know what I mean, a transgender, whatever. He
Yeah.
felt a certain way, whatever. So, in order to kind of not mess with his machoism, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
he had to do something, whatever.
Yeah. See, those kind of things I don't think is fair, and that's one of the reasons why it probably took it so long for us to have these conversations, because people used to ridicule them, people used to beat them up, and that's not fair. Now, what is also not fair though is when they, I'm not going to say disguise themselves, but when they
Yeah, go ahead.
When they
lie about who they
their,
are, and they
exactly,
then that can get somebody
trying to
hurt.
trick somebody. Yeah.
You get hurt like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got this guy in the dark, and you haven't exactly told this guy the truth, whatever, and he thinks he's doing something, and he come to find out you can get yourself hurt.
You can get yourself hurt.
You know what
Just
I'm saying?
be honest. The best thing to do is just be honest, because you don't want anybody to harm you.
And you know what I mean? Just like you don't want nobody to ridicule you. If you're a gay person, or you feel like you think you're another gender, whatever, you can't be hitting on men and think that that's acceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I had to do one time. I worked at the Home Depot years ago, whatever, and this guy, he was real flamboyant about his thing, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he would say stuff slick out the mouth, whatever, to people, whatever.
Yeah.
So one day I'm up at the customer service desk, whatever, and he gets slick out the mouth to me about, his name was Antoine. Well, I don't know why the Lord, his name was always Antoine. But he gets slick out the mouth for me, whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah, Calvin, and I said, yo, listen, man.
Yeah.
I know you play with Donnell and them like that, but don't play with me like that.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing slick out your mouth to me, because I don't play with you like that.
That's it.
You know what I mean? I respect you for who you are. You do your thing, whatever, but don't disrespect me and come on to me. I don't play that.
That's it. Be sure that they're part of that community, because you could get yourself in some trouble. I understand that.
So yeah, I mean, you the same way you guys want to be respected,
Yeah.
you got to give it. But see, you out here, you're being flashy, you're being flamboyant. You want all this attention on you, so you're doing everything you can.
Yeah.
You're doing the twirls, and you got all the hand gestures and the movements, whatever. You know what I mean? You want the attention. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think you gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta be easy because, like I said, it ain't no joke, man. Out here, not everybody is acceptable to that.
That's true. That is true.
You know, so I'd say the solution is, you know what I mean? You know, be respectful, be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree, because back in the day, people used to say, speak of undercover brothers and things like that. I'd rather folks just be honest about who you are. You know, it's your prerogative. That's the way that you want to live. That's the way that you want to live. But just be honest. Just be true to yourself.
Well, they say a rising share of adults say they now know a transgender person. The share of adults who know someone who is a transgender has increased from 42% in 2021 and from 37% in 2017, where you know someone who's made the switch.
To me, that's more acceptable than someone pretending like they
gave, what was it, Time magazine? They gave a transgender person Woman of the Year when they gave, what was the Chris Jenner? What's the dude's name? What's his name? The Jenner.
I think so.
Yeah. He when he became a woman, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
They gave this dude Woman of the Year. Out of all these great women out here doing great things, they decided to give a man who turned over to a woman Woman of the Year. I don't get that.
That's unacceptable.
They're doing too much.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I'm saying?
Another thing I don't agree with is the transgender playing in sports.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a problem for me, because
I don't agree with the sports or the bathrooms.
Yeah, I don't dig that.
That's touchy. That the bathroom one is touchy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But I believe if you were born a certain gender, no matter what you want to be, that's the bathroom you should be going in. I don't want nobody's daughter being, being in the bathroom, and a guy who wants to be a woman can go in there and see her, and I think that's borderline. Yeah, that's a scary situation.
It is. It is.
So, but young adults are far more likely to be familiar with this than their older counterparts.
As we mentioned before, this is a very sensitive topic, and we know people might be a little offended by this, but we need to have a conversation about this. This is important, because you guys might have children that feel a certain type of way, and it's important to talk about it. It's important to have a discussion about it, and most importantly, just make sure that it's a decision that they are absolutely sure about before you begin that transition, because you don't want to have regrets. And with regrets, that person can end up, being disgusted with the people that coached them on to do it.
Right. And I believe the counseling that they're offering these children are called gender care. I think it's called gender care or something like that, right? It's
called gender affirming care.
Okay.
Gender affirming care.
And this is the part where they consult with them or something like that, or Okay. So
it's like a whole entire, from what I gather, a treatment, just like someone who has cancer, or someone who is going through some type of medical issue.
So as the number of trans children has grown, so has their access to gender affirming care, much of it provided at scores of clinics at major hospitals. Well,
let me see. What I'm interested to know is, do insurance companies pay for that?
That's a good question right there.
Insurance companies pay for that.
That's a good question right there. You know how insurance companies are. They real iffy. They don't mind taking your money, but when it comes time to let out, boy, it's a whole nother story.
Right.
It says in 2021, about 42,000 children and teens across the United States received a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, nearly triple the number in 2017, according to data. Gender dysphoria is defined as the distress caused by a discrepancy between a person's gender identity and the one assigned to them at birth.
The information that I'm reading here, it says that health insurance does pay. Some health insurance companies do pay for gender affirming surgeries.
Wow.
They offer coverage.
Well, you know, I guess to the parents out there, man, do your best to give your children an identity at as young as age as possible. I don't know if that's a solution, but I think it will help by putting a basketball or football in their hands as early as possible if they're a boy. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we don't have a solution. Transparency is key. Having the discussion is key. The consultations, the interventions, all those things I think will be valuable at helping a child to discover or to confirm what their true identity is and who they should be. You know what I'm saying? But we've been with you guys for an hour now. We just wanted to go over that. We just wanted to discuss that because it's something that's not often discussed. And there's anything you want to let out before we get up out of here, Miss Mahogany Rose?
Yeah, there's a couple of things I would like to discuss.
Okay, let's knock it out.
All right, so I'm just reading about these gender confirmation surgeries. I was reading that 66% of transgender women either had a wanted vaginoplasty or labiaplasty. I guess that's the removal of some female organs. 51% of transgender women either had or wanted augmented breast. 50% of transgender women either had or wanted facial feminization surgery to make their face appear more feminine. 37% of transgender women either had or wanted a tracheal shave or removal of the Adam's apple. 58% of transgender women either had or wanted orchiectomy, removal of the testes. 22% of the transgender men either had or wanted phalloplasty, that's the creation of a penis. 27% of transgender men either had or wanted metoidioplasty. That's a surgery that uses existing genitalia to create a penis. 97% of transgender men either had or wanted chest reconstruction or a mastectomy, and that's they said that's actually a top surgery. And 71% of transgender men either had or wanted a hysterectomy, removal of the uterus.
See, that was our thing back in the days. Then we should be like, check the neck. Right. You can't even check the neck no more.
Some people are actually born with genitalia of female and male. And in situations like that, I kind of understand. So I know that sometimes the surgeries are done right away. The parent has to decide whether or not they want a boy or a girl, not really knowing what the outcome is going to be once they get older. But then some actually wait. These are not going to be discussions that a young little boy or young little girl are going to be discussing with their peers in school. So, like we said before, there's many layers to this, and at the end of the day, who are we to judge? But
it's like I said,
it's just one of those things with situations like that.
I don't like the trickery of it. You know what I
Right,
mean? Because like I
right,
said, but back in the days, you could be like, check the neck. It's for the Adam's apple, whatever. But you
right,
can't even do that no more. These days,
right,
you can't even tell sometimes
right.
if it's a man or woman. You don't even know. You be with a woman for 5 months.
But I'm sitting here thinking because you're saying that. I guess there are situations where a child is born and they they have features of both a male and female.
I can understand you having to
Yeah,
address that.
yeah. So yeah, those kind of things. I guess it has to be addressed.
But how often is that though? What's that percentage must be very low.
We
You know
didn't
what I'm
look it up,
saying?
so we don't know.
So I know. I'm just saying. I know that's a case. That's a rare case.
Yeah,
That can't be a case that happens often, whatever. But when it does, I can understand you addressing that as soon as possible.
yeah,
Like as soon as the
absolutely.
baby comes out.
Yeah,
But in other cases, whatever, you know what I mean? I think you got to establish that identity with the child
yeah,
as soon as possible, whatever. A lot of these men or boys are being raised by women and grandparents and their friends, and they don't have no identity. They have no way of knowing how a man should act, how a man should talk, how a man should, you know what I mean? Nothing.
right.
So they're confused right out the gate.
Because it's crazy. Because it's like if a young boy at the age of 5 or 6 wants to get his thing cut off and he don't even really know what it's used for, you know,
That's
get his stuff
crazy.
cut off. Yeah, like you don't even know why God gave you these parts.
They were talking about a TV show. I don't know if it's on HBO or whatever. Something about secret society. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
A secret society is a television show that they got going on right now, where they're talking to transgender people
Mm-hmm.
who made the switch, and they're talking about their lifestyle and their relationships and stuff like that, and how guys can't tell. That's why it's called secret society, because they can't tell
Mm-hmm.
that these people that used to be men before they were women. You may have to do some digging, some research. You may even have to go to their mama's house to see a picture of them when they was young to realize that they was
Yeah, that's great.
a boy before they became a girl. This secret society stuff is going to get somebody hurt because you are intentionally hiding your gender and hiding your history as another person to someone.
That's true.
And I have a real big issue with that. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, man, guys, be careful out there, man. There's a lot of women out there, and they look like women. They got the big booties. They got the badonkadonks. They got they got the chest.
That's true.
They got everything. How they say it, Mr. Goodbar, a nice pair of kegs. You gotta be careful out there, because you mess around and it ain't no real woman.
You really can't
God bless, but I know for me, somebody gonna get hurt.
tell.
I'm telling you, I'm not gonna be nobody's victim. That's what I ain't gonna do.
I can't even imagine marrying someone and then later down the line they tell me that they used to be a woman.
Man,
I would
listen.
rather them just be straight up with me so I can make that decision
Wow.
whether or not I want to be with them.
It's real out here in the field, baby. It's real out here
it's
in the
real.
field.
It's real. I
So,
respect honesty. That's for sure.
well, I don't have no solution. It sounds like we don't have a solution at all for them. So,
But if you
just-
have some questions, please send us your messages.
yeah, send us something.
And
You
your
can
questions,
even
and-
put it in the chat, whatever, or we'll still answer questions even after the show is over.
And if you got some
You know.
information, please inform us because we're still learning.
For sure. That being said, we do it for the Culture Radio. We thank you guys for checking in, for listening. Make sure you check up with us every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Whatever we try to do. We do for the culture on Wednesdays, and the music show with DJ Miz on Sunday. So make sure y'all just go to stationhead.com, go to 405 Strong, and follow us so that you get notifications whenever we got something going on, whatever. And like I said, we never disappoint. All right, so keep us plugged in, and we love y'all. Y'all be easy. 5-4. We are out of
All
here.
right,
We do
y'all.
it for the
Peace out.
Culture Radio.
Thank you for listening.
Deuces.